started. This is the Town of Halifax Finance Committee meeting. Tonight is Monday, May 13th, 2019. We're being recorded by Area 58. On tonight's agenda, attendance at town meeting, budget discussion, as may arise, public participation, and adjournment. We have two lines that have had adjustments made to them prior to the annual town meeting, which we're going to re-vote now. We'll get those out of the way first so that Sandy can make the needed adjustments. Those will be editorial changes proposed by the moderator, Dennis, on town meeting floor. So the first one is, we took a vote the other night concerning the treasurer's expense line. Right, Sandy?
Yep.
So we'll need to increase that line by $1,000. That is...
Line 25.
Sure.
Awesome. All right, so I will...
Oh, you want that one?
There you go. All right. I will entertain a motion for the Finance Committee to reconsider line 25 under Article 4, Treasurer Expense.
Make a motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, okay. Sandy, do you want to just fill every, because I know, I
Okay,
think...
so, last meeting, they asked for a line item transfer to $1,000 because of the new financial advisor and the cost of the disclosure. And evidently, I had thought that they had increased their budget for FY20. They thought that I had come to you and increased it, so neither one of us had. So we need to increase it from $6,500 to $7,500 so that it will cover the amount of the disclosure.
So I'll entertain, does anyone else have any questions for Sandy? I'll entertain a motion for the Finance Committee to recommend line 25 treasurer expense in the amount of $7,500.
I'll make the motion to recommend.
Thought we just did that.
We reconsidered it.
Okay, I'll second.
All right, any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Just an update on the zoning. We
Yeah.
have no quorum, we have one person from the planning board, so we'll just take no, literally do nothing with the zoning articles. When we hit them as we pick them out of the hat, we
Yeah.
just won't, we're not making any motions, yes, no,
Okay.
no action, pass over, zip, nothing.
Okay. So we'll handle the last one for Sandy, and then we'll go back to those ones because those were on our list of sort of to-dos for the night. So the other line that we have to revote, Sandy, is
Line 111, trash collection disposal. What happened here is Howland, who we've been using for years, was bought out by Waste Management. So we were forced to go back out to bid. When we went out to bid, Waste Management came in high, but the other person who bid on the job was lower, except they had a caveat in their contract that it would increase by so much money for every household that wasn't included in that first figure, and the first figure given was not high enough. I think Charlie sent you guys all an email on this. So they are going to go back out and rebid. They're hoping that they get in a lower bid from the other competitor, but at this point in time, we have to go with the Waste Management bid. And that's what this figure will cover. So we'll go from 201,421 to 243,540, which is over a $42,000 difference.
What was that number again?
From it's going to 243,540.
Charlie's note had a thing saying that it was going to come out of the
It will come out of solid waste.
revenues.
Yeah.
so I'll entertain a motion for the Finance Committee to reconsider line 111 trash collection disposal.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of reconsideration?
Aye.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to recommend the amount of $243,540 for line 111 trash collection disposal.
Which is the an increase to 145,000?
42.
142.
It actually was an increase of just over 42,000. The price, I think, that they gave was 145. Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a,
Wait a minute, hold on. What was the number you read?
243,540.
Oh, it's the total budget line.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's two.
Right, I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
so we're at 42.
Okay.
Yep. So, Bill, did you move it?
Can't remember, but if I didn't, I'll do it again.
Okay.
Motion to recommend.
Second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, folks. Sandy, do you need anything from us? We're gonna do
just-
the zoning article.
Right.
Yeah.
Just, if the uniform allowance articles change in
Yeah.
Article 2, if they pass, they are going to change some of the lines. So I can give you those numbers and the amount it will increase right now, if you'd like to mark the books. It doesn't need to be a vote because you've already had voted each recommendation.
Okay.
But when Dennis is reading through the lines will increase.
Okay.
So line 98, which is water supply, so they're not going in order, sorry, will increase by $500 to $182,600.
I'm sorry, can you say the line again?
98. Since you're right there, I'll go to line 94. Cemetery supplies and equipment will increase by $175 to $6,195. Line 107, recycling office expense will increase by $325 to $3,785. And then line 43, town building expense will increase by $250 to $35,360.
All right, the remaining articles that we had not taken votes on were 61 and 62.
Both of those articles are zoning articles.
Yep, and those are the ones that Charlie just said there was no movement.
There'll be no action
Yeah,
on those.
all right, so we don't have to even vote to not, we don't have to
No.
vote, no, okay.
I could give you the other articles too, if you'd like, that are zoning articles that there'll be no action on.
Oh, sure, fine.
All right. So, Article, I believe it is 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 60. So 59 is not a zoning article. It may be passed over anyways,
Yeah.
but it's not a zoning. And, yeah, 52 is not a zoning item, so.
Okay. So then the only ones we haven't provided recommendations on are 14 and 50, because we're not sure about the dollar amounts on those yet.
On which?
Article 14, Chapter 90 funding, and Article 50.
Right.
Yeah.
So Article 14 is probably going to be passed over
Okay,
because the state hasn't come up with a chapter
okay,
number yet. So we can't vote it until we have the chapter number.
okay.
And you said Article 50?
50,
And
which
that's
is,
because that's the stabilization fund.
Yeah,
We currently are, the number, I believe we are at 23,000 left in the free cash. So it will depend on whether the highway articles
Yeah.
that were not recommended
yeah,
get approved at town meeting. If they get approved at town meeting, that's what we have, 23,257.
okay,
If they do not get approved at town meeting, that is, let's see, the Kubota is 51,000.
Wait a
And
minute,
this-
you lost me. So the 22 is if they get approved?
Right.
Okay.
So if
So
they
that's
get
the worst
approved,
case.
we have to pay that, we
Right.
have to use free
Right.
cash
Yeah.
for that.
And, okay, so that's
if
what I'm
they-
getting at, so the worst
right.
case is
Right.
it'll only be 22.
So if they don't get approved, then we have 51,000, which is the Kubota, and 168,129, which is the sweeper. That money, I don't know how you want to vote it. If you want to think about this, do we put all of it in stabilization? Do we put a portion of it in stabilization? I wouldn't go down to the the penny.
Yeah.
If I were you, I would go with a nice round figure. We're gonna put in 300,000, and I'm not sure if that adds up to that, but 200,000, say 200,000. Something, it doesn't hurt to leave a little bit in the free cash, because it just gets rolled over to the next year anyways. But I think it's important we start building up our stabilization account again. So I will have a figure for you. We've asked Dennis on Article 50 if it comes up, whenever it comes up,
Yeah.
to table it until the end of the meeting, so that we'll have a definite, we know we have this amount of money. All right?
So we'll take the actual vote then on town meeting floor for the dollar amount, but does anyone have any kind of philosophical bent? So we don't have to like whisper a conversation while we're on town meeting floor in terms of,
What's in it now, Sandy? Stabilization fund.
Our stabilization fund is currently at $711,090.35. $314,591.60 is money that we have put aside for Silver Lake Regional capital items. Because we got that money in the settlement with Pembroke, we felt that it was right to put it aside and save that for capital items that will come up for the regional school.
Off and tough, what's the target? What are you targeting? What would you like to see there?
We usually, I think we were setting a goal for a certain percentage of the budget. And I think it was between 8 and 5% of the budget, and we're not there. Oh, we're very low right now. But I believe there was actually a policy written by one of the finance committees, and I believe it was between 8 and 5% of the budget was the goal. The whole thing is, when we are faced with capital items that cost a huge amount of money, if you have the money in the stabilization, that's a good place to, to go for it, especially if it's after we've spent the free cash and all of a sudden we have a hole in a roof or something on that idea. We have monies that we can use. And there is a lot of different thoughts on this. Some people feel that you're using it like a savings account, you don't need to do that. Other people think we should be using it like a savings account so that you can build it up, and some of these articles aren't going to cripple you and take all your free cash. Free cash has been extremely high for the last, well, I say extremely high for Halifax for the last 2 or 3 years. It's not always this. We've had years where it was down to 300,000, 600,000. I remember when we hit 600,000, I thought it was a lot. When I look at the history, it has been all over the place, free cash. So one year we cut budgets, and that year free cash was very low. So it's free cash can't be counted on, but the stabilization account can be. We know it's there.
I don't know what the finance recommendation was, but if it's 5 or 8%, I think that'd be at least a good starting point. For us, 700,000, I think we're about 400,000 short of that target, just at the basic 5% roughly.
yeah, I mean, I personally would be fine with moving whatever balance we have remaining in there, just because we can't always count on free cash, but I also am open, if we want to hold a vote. I think we're going to go on town meeting for anyway, but I just thought it'd be good to have a conversation if there's competing opinions about.
The nice thing about this is we're not raising taxes to put money into it by doing it this way.
Yeah.
This is what's left over from this year's free cash. So,
Are there any stipulations to it and what it can be used for? Just capital items.
not our general free cash, not our general stabilization, except for the one caveat with the Silver Lake. So we can have as many stabilizations as we want. At one point, we had a settlement because of an additive that was in gasoline that had leaked into the soils, and we had a settlement for the MTBE, and we put in a separate account We slated it towards water system and protection, and we've been using it, the water department used it for some of their projects, as well as Mont Ponce Ponds, the treatment of the Mont Ponce Ponds. So that was specifically put aside for those. It takes a 2/3 vote. I believe it's changed. I don't think it takes a 2/3 vote to put the money in anymore, but it takes a 2/3 vote to get the money out of stabilization. So with the 2/3 vote, you could say, we're putting this money in, we want it to be used for the next fire engine. The next year, with a 2/3 vote, you could take it out and use it for whatever. So you're putting a stipulation on it saying, this is what we wanted, this is what it's intended for. But it's up to town meeting. If there's another reason why it needs to be used, town meeting can override that.
Those of you who've been on capital planning, I remember there's some big ticket stuff that's probably coming down the
Fire
pipeline.
truck.
Fire truck, right, yeah. If not one or two, we're down.
It's just one.
Just one.
If they
But isn't that
rehabbed,
about 500,000 when that one comes out?
I thought it was a quarter, but I
Quarter,
could be
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
It could be more.
Yeah,
Because I know that
I'm trying to
they
remember.
were rehabbing another one too.
Yeah, and they could get a few more years out of that one.
And then I don't know if highway is gonna be looking for a grader at some point, which is another quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how everyone else feels. Like personally, we find just whatever is available over into stabilization because of those big ticket things that we've been
Yep.
talking about for a couple of years.
I would agree with that.
Alright.
So do we want to pick numbers now, so we're not doing exactly what you wanted to avoid, and that's debate on the floor?
Well, we don't have to debate it on the floor. We can just, whatever the dollar amount is, since we all like the idea of just moving the balance over, we'll just vote quick on the floor and then say the.
Sandy will tell us what's left to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just vote on it.
And that way we
If
can-
there's any qualms.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But at least this way, we've had a conversation without trying to like whisper over each other. Like.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any other articles that are left for us to make recommendations on.
I don't believe so.
Okay. So just quick, I'll be really brief about the finance committee's report. I'll basically just sort of rehash very short version of what was in the letter that went out to homeowners and remind them that as votes change on the floor, things that are printed in the warrant are gonna fluctuate a little bit, as votes get taken. I have, for the most part, where we weren't unanimous in voting, and I'll try to always report that vote, but if for some reason I don't, it's not because I don't want to, it's because I didn't write it down. Feel free to jump in as the dissenting opinion or the agreeing opinion or whatever. Obviously, all of you know you can grab the mic at any point in time. I think when we make procedurally, when I have to make the wage and personnel recommendations, I might ask Bill to read the finance committee recommendations on those, if you don't mind. I'll open it, there'll just be two of them. And that way it's not me recommending or not recommending something I just talked about.
Which of the two, Article?
The ones I'm gonna be talking about
One and
is Article 2,
It's what I have open.
1 and 2. So I'm gonna do the first two as a wage and personnel member. So those are the two that I would just need to ask if you wouldn't mind giving the finance committee recommendation on. Anything else? Fully participation?
We might, Article 2, Section 2 is going to be passed over.
Yeah.
That's the intent.
Yeah.
And they'll ask your recommendation on whether you recommend it passing over or not. So
Yeah.
just be aware of that.
Yeah.
And that's this one here?
Yep, that's a reclassification.
Yes.
Reclass?
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess we can take this Passover vote now, right? Yeah. So I'll entertain a motion for the Finance Committee to recommend passing over Article 2, Section 2, that's the reclassification one.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion second, any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Anything else? Okay. I guess we can adjourn to wait for town meeting.
Yeah. You guys might all want to, on the table down back,
Yeah.
remember to go in and register.
Yeah.
And then this is the funding notes. They changed slightly from what was in the warrant. So you'll want to grab a copy of that.
Yeah.
Dennis is going to read as many of them as we can. just letting people know where the funding is coming from.
So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 6:51 PM. We'll be adjourning to town meeting once we reach quorum.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna go